Serena fucking Kerrigan.
I feel like I've heard you say that before.
Maybe however many years ago now. Welcome back to Real Pod. I haven't had you on the pod since, I just looked it up, it was July of 2019. So it's almost an anniversary for us.
Literally 5 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Wild.
I had just started my show. I was bending over backwards to when people said yes to come on. I would bring my computer. I didn't have real microphones. We used a Yeti and just set it in between us.
So cute.
And I set up my iPhone and a camera and had one person helping me. And I came to your hotel room because I was at a speaking event for a bunch of young women, and one of the girls there was like, do you follow SFK? Because I love her stuff on confidence. And that was how I first found your page.
That was crazy. And I was at Refining 29 still, I think, at that
yeah.
time. So I hadn't even quit my job yet. I was still doing video production there.
Isn't it crazy that if I had said oh, where do we see ourselves in 5 years from now? Here we are.
I don't think I would have predicted this. Would you?
No.
I mean, you were very self-assured, confident. You came into the room, you had your equipment. You were I love, that hasn't changed. But, and I know I haven't changed in much either, in that vein. But I don't think I would have predicted some of the things that I've accomplished. I don't know if you would have either.
I think I've always had a belief in myself. This is so funny. John Mulaney just did an episode of the David Letterman show on Netflix. Have you seen that one? My next guest needs an introduction. And there's this part where David Letterman says to him, did you imagine you'd be selling out Madison Square Garden or something? And he goes, no, I couldn't have ever imagined it. And then 5 minutes later he goes, Dave, I lied. Can you ask me that question again? And Dave says, did you ever imagine? He goes, yeah, I did. Yeah. I knew I would. And I so respected that because to almost your point, I just kind of felt like I would maybe refuse to ever quit business until I made the Forbes list or something like that. I guess I just always I don't know.
The Forbes 30, I literally was I will die before I get on this list. You know what I mean? And then of course, it's not that big of a deal in the sense of if you don't get it, nothing changes. But there's certain things that I've wanted. And I think that when you are very vocal about what you want and you go and you work for it, I think it could happen.
We had that literally the other day. I think yesterday we were texting and I said, should I ask for a discount on this, or is that a little tone deaf? And you were like, you never get what you don't ask for. It's so true. And she gave me one.
Shocker.
20% off.
The worst thing people can say is no.
Right.
But I realized right now I'm writing a movie, and I posted on my story months ago, and I was I'm gonna win it was during the Oscars, and I was I'm gonna win an Oscar one day, and people are for what? What? Who? And I was just for writing and directing a movie. And I think I can even imagine the haters what they're saying, but it's it fuels me more when I put out what I want into the world and my goals. It kind of almost I feel almost more accountable. Not anyone doesn't actually care except for me.
Yeah.
But it holds me to, I said I was going to do this, now I'm going to go fucking do it.
Yeah. I think there's a difference too between having an intense belief in your abilities and your potential, which I think every successful person that I've met, you can't be stepping up to the plate in whatever your arena is and telling yourself, oh, I'm not good enough and I'm a piece of shit. You can have doubts and anxiety you overcome and self-talk you overcome, of course. But the majority of successful people, they're there because they thought they were worthy of a shot at trying the thing. And I feel with women especially, that gets confused with, oh, she's cocky or she's full of herself, when it's there's a line. There's some people who I don't know, I've seen some videos where I'm okay, this is not women empowerment. This is just that's just not a cute look. I like to err on the side of being humble, but I also would be lying if I said to someone when I didn't rip out the magazine. No, I didn't even rip out the page. I kept the edition of Forbes. Karlie Kloss was on the cover. That was the first time I ever really read a Forbes Under 30 and was oh my God. And I saved that in my drawer in high school because I was one day, I don't know for what, but I'm going to be on this list. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't think that, but I don't think that's cocky.
No, but also, okay, here's my thing about the empowerment. I'm someone who I feel I say yeah, I'm going to do this, this, and that. First of all, maybe I won't, but who cares, right? But I also want you to be successful. And if you said, I also want to win an Oscar, I also want to be on the list, like I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah. Like I think that's the difference. It's like you also want other people to win. I think when you're cocky, it's like I'm the best and good luck. Let's see if you can do it.
Yeah.
That's the issue there, I find. And so it's like, I find it interesting where it's like when I talk about the things I want to accomplish or do, why does it bother people so much? Like
a lot of people feel threatened by the success of others, and they don't have enough built up in their own like resume or story of their lives that when other people are succeeding, I think like their ego
projecting
gets sad because they're like, oh my gosh, this person keeps leveling up and I'm not at all. So it's like I have a soft spot, but then I'm also like, in the times in my life I felt small or I felt whatnot, I don't go bully people or like comment hate.
No. And I just saw this clip of Jerry Seinfeld. I just talked about it. He's like, all these people that are talking about you, all these comments, like they're meaningless. Like these people are gonna go away eventually, and so will you. So the only thing you need to be focusing on is how can you get better at what you want to accomplish.
Yeah. I'm laughing because this reminds me of a TikTok I saw this week. And I literally, you know when you see one stupid thing and it changes your whole perspective? It was this person who was like, the haters saying things about me, you're fiction writing or something. Like, if you don't know me personally, anything you say about me is fiction. And like, it was this comedy video about people who think they know you and talk shit, who don't know you. It's like, you're writing a fantasy novel. Like, it's not an autobiography.
Said perfectly, literally.
So since we last did the interview 5 years ago, how do you think you have grown most? Let's talk about confidence, because that was a big part of your mission when we first met, and it's still a big part of your mission now. I literally think your Instagram bio of I'm the queen of confidence and I've saved you a seat at my throne has not changed in 5 years. So how have you changed though when you think about confidence and the things you used to say about it versus what you say now?
That's a really great question. Well, in the past 5 years, a lot has happened. One, I had quit my job, and I think that was a big moment, was taking the chance and believing in myself was really scary. And it was right before lockdown, which I couldn't even have predicted, honestly. But I remember my dad being like, how are you going to make money? Like, out of concern, right? But I did make money, so much more than I would have ever made if I stayed in that job. I was making very, very unlivable wage. But I think that was like a real turning point, is like believing in myself and asking myself, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And I think in the last 5 years, I'm just going to try to answer this concisely because there's so many different ways. But when I was reflecting back on this year, I kept asking myself, when did I go push myself outside my comfort zone? And I wrote down all of the times I did. And I was like, I wish I did more. And that's so funny because I feel like a lot of people, when they write me and ask me questions, they're like, I want to do this, but I'm scared. And I'm like, but then you run towards that fear, because whenever you do, I don't want to say you succeed, you learn something about yourself and you try it, and it invigorates you and you grow. I pitched my card game business to Bad Bunny for a $300,000 grant at one of these Forbes conferences. It was like a Latinx thing.
Your what? Your card business?
My card game business.
To Bad Bunny.
To Bad Bunny. It was
I'm like whoa. Explain.
Sorry. It was basically this like Latinx competition where 5 Latinos with companies like could pitch Bad Bunny for a $300,000 grant for their business. And I flew out to Ohio where the Forbes conference was. And this was before 30 Under 30, I think. I just flew out. And they didn't pay for it. I went on my own dime, but I was like, it's worth it. And I came up with it had to be like a 2-minute pitch. I was being timed. I was on a stage. I didn't know this. I thought it was going to be like Bad Bunny and a couple other people. 3,000 people were watching us. I had a fever. I literally had a fever, but I was legit sick. Like, did 2 IVs, like dying. Get up on the stage. I slay it down so hard.
I feel like you would slay.
I didn't win because a kid with the mental health app pitched, and it was brilliant. I was like, okay, my game is literally for like having sex and having fun. Like, totally fair. Like, maybe I don't need. But after that, I was like, I can do anything. I was like, I went in sick. I like spoke in Spanish and English, which I'm bilingual, but still like 3,000 people. Like, I'm pitching to Bad Bunny, who I respect. Like, I'm just like, all the odds were just so scary. And I did it. And I didn't even win, but I was like, I can do fucking anything.
Right.
And so I think it's like, how's my confidence changed? I run towards things that scare me. And I'm constantly, and I'm like, the thing that I'm most afraid of is complacency. Like, I'm so afraid of like falling into a rhythm of doing the same thing every day or working on the same project that I like, I'm desperate to search for the next thing, which can be toxico at times.
I was just gonna take us there by saying, what is it that scares you so much about more of the stillness?
Yeah. I think that my boyfriend tells me this. He's just like, like Sundays I always get like a bit of like a panic attack, or like I'm get really anxious. And he's like, this happens every Sunday on repeat. I was like, oh my God, really? Because it's interesting when you're in a healthy relationship, as you know, suddenly a mirror is held up to you because you're not focusing on the toxicity of the other person of the situationship. You're in this healthy relationship and they're like, no, let's look at you, and in a loving way. Suddenly he like pointed this out and I realized like there is something about the stillness. It scares me. And I think part of it, even though I have built up a lot of confidence and a lot of success, is feeling like I'm not doing enough and that I'm running out of time. It's always been like, I always feel like it's here, like it stresses me out.
When you think about your confidence and like your proudness of yourself, do you think a lot of it weighs and skews towards the accomplishments and not enough on you, like in your heart and inside?
Okay, loving this deep question. I think that when you grow up in a household where you're given certain love or attention, and there's sometimes that kind of feelings of good that are conditional based off of like, you did well in school, we're gonna give you more love. And I think that when you grow up in that kind of environment, yeah, like I like associate doing really well as like getting love, right? And so a lot of this is a very good podcast, you're very good at your job. I'm like, oh, look at making all these connections. So part of me becoming more confident is like not relying on the external validation, not relying on the follower count, not relying on the likes on a video, just being proud of my work and also myself and my also personal growth in therapy, working through past trauma, opening up and being in a relationship for the first time in 5 years and like taking a leap of faith. Like, yes. But like, while I can articulate all those things to you, sometimes the anxiety still comes and like that feeling of like needing more.
Right. Have you had conversations with your family or parents about like, hey, I've noticed from the past, this was my pattern. And now are you in a place where you either realize, oh, hey, I was just a kid like spinning this narrative, but of course my parents would love me if I failed in this endeavor? Or are you thinking it's not that and you still kind of need to achieve even in these later years?
I think that if you grow up in a certain environment, it's very hard, even if you can recognize, it's very hard to break and unlearn. So yes, like very vocal. I've made a lot of connections too about like needing validation, like is really what I've been working on, is like that goes back to what confidence is. And it's interesting, like with my Instagram bio, like my Instagram bio pisses people off so much because it's like what we talked about. I'm like, I'm the queen of confidence and I seem to see free on my throne. So always when it comes to my content, it's like, well, if you were really confident, if you really were the queen of confidence, you would be X, Y, and Z. But I'm like, that's who I wanted to become. Like that was like what I want, a standard I want to hold myself to. And while I might not be my most confident every single day, which I know you understand because you obviously are the queen of confidence in my eyes, like I still want to be that person for other people to come to and feel like they're safe with, because I know how to uplift other people.
Yeah.
It's not always about me. I know it seems like it is sometimes, but it's not.
I think too, with the evolution of the mental health conversation and vulnerability, how I might look at it, but tell me if I'm wrong, is 5 years ago, it was like, if not your brand, I just mean the vibe of society is like, if I'm saying I'm confident 24/7 and I don't have any bad days. And so I'm aspirational because I'm always confident, versus now we all know what it means to be human, which is like, I can be the queen of confidence and of course struggle, because every human does, and they have their own insecurities and they have their setbacks. But it's the perseverance and the relentless pursuit of confidence that makes me aspirational now, because that's something that like people can compute.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a work in progress, but we all are, right? I also feel like I'm not as much as the persona anymore. Like I love SFK, like this persona I created. And I would like, every time I post a piece of content, like I was her and I was like bitchy, but like getting you to love yourself. And like, But I feel like as I've gotten older and matured and evolved and I'm more comfortable with my own vulnerability and just being Serena, I don't play into the character as much anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's just like something else I've noticed, like almost like not needing this persona to be myself.
Which is such a beautiful thing that you should be proud of. Is like, what was the Serena feeling back when like SFK was everything, because it was so much easier to like, well, this person's confident and she would do this and she would do that, and that's a version of me, so let me be that. And now it's like, wait, I feel like I can actually make these decisions as like just Serena.
It's a lot. It took a long time. Like I literally could not introduce myself as anything but Serena fucking Kerrigan. And now I'm just like, yeah, that's her. She's a baddie, but like she's not here right now.
So how have you thought about your identity with this shift?
I feel honestly like a lot less excited about sharing my life online. Like I feel in general like more vulnerable and like just more happy with myself, but it's almost like I got to hide behind this character when I posted and like hide behind the character. I was like, I had these like huge fake eyelashes and short blonde hair. Like I was literally like a different version of myself. And I feel like that makes sometimes me more protective about my life and my privacy and like my relationship. And I get scared like posting about it because it's like, I can't really be like, well, that was just SFK. Mm-hmm. It's Serena now.
How was that with negative feedback and hate comments? Because I could see myself, if I was in your shoes, saying, yeah, well, if they say they don't like this person, like, well, that's not really me. So you have that to hide behind. But now it's like if someone were to say something negative, it's hitting your soul.
Yeah. But it's like, it's what you said. It's like, they just don't know me. Like, I'm not an ill-intended person. I don't claim to have all the answers. Like, I'm going to fuck up. Like, I'm going to take accountability if I fuck up. But what I'm like surprised about, and I don't know if this is a recent thing, or I feel like the internet is just so like much more intensely angry and mean since 5 years ago. And I feel like, oh no, are people thinking that that's normal? Like I very much grew up in the vein of like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. Mm-hmm. Like why would you comment someone's post and comment something mean? I just don't get it. But on that point, my boyfriend is 6 years younger than me. And when we started dating, I was like, this is like what people are just gonna be so fixated on. And it was a new relationship. I didn't know, you know. I kind of knew. I mean, I literally love him, but like,
Felix.
We love Felix, but it's just like he loves you. That was scary of being this like dating persona for so long, and then suddenly being in this relationship, and this person's younger, and then the internet and everything. And we also met on his podcast, so that like it was already public. And then actually, our anniversary is coming up. The anniversary of when we met is tomorrow, so it feels very serendipitous that we're doing this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And now I'm so confident in the relationship. I'm like, fuck it. I just saw that new movie with Anne Hathaway. Have you seen it? The Idea of You?
No, but I've heard it's good.
It's literally about her and falling in love with like a rock star who's 24. She's 40. Okay. And the whole movie's literally about like the public harassing her, calling her a cougar. And she has this great line. She's like, people hate it when women are happy. And anyway, I posted a video about Felix and I and our age difference because like I don't care. Also, our parents are both 6 years apart, which is kind of crazy. And people are like shocked. Like, oh my God, what? He's just a baby. I'm literally like, but then again, like I put that out there. So do I deserve this kind of energy and like hate, quote unquote? I go between saying, fuck it. People are going to say what they're going to say. They're going to judge me regardless. Post. And then posting and being like, why am I even giving them the privilege of my content? And like
the privilege of the access to your personal life.
Correct.
And what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a natural evolution of having something in your life that you really, really care about, which is your relationship, and realizing you would do anything to protect it. That's how I feel about Max. And I've had so many people say we should do a couples podcast, and I know it would be uber successful. I can't think of many not corny, healthy relationship like couples doing something like that, but that is my marriage. And I don't want someone coming up on the street and saying, oh my God, I listened last week and you were so wrong about this thing. Like, you should have let Max do boys' night or whatever. Like, whoa. Like, you have no say in our marriage. And so
this is why I'm literally like trying to do something that's not social media based. Literally. I've been writing a movie because it's grueling and it's isolating, and there's no likes, there's no shares, there's no comments being like, go at it. Like, it's the opposite of making a video, I feel like. But I do feel more fulfilled and almost like safe in it, because it's like, it's interesting. Like, you make something and you're immediately getting feedback, and it's a very interesting position when you're not getting that feedback or validation. It's like, I wrote a really great scene today and my mom's like, great job. And I'm like, great. You know, and that's okay. I'm learning to like be okay with that. Amen.
I think this is a perfect time to ask you a question I pulled from one of your games, Let's Fucking Go, because I am a sucker for card games.
I'm obsessed. I love the energy.
And one of my favorite questions that I've always loved, and I'm so glad it's included, is what about you is the most misunderstood?
Ooh. Hitting me with the deep ones. Of course, obviously, I know where I am.
Real talk.
It's my second time around, you know? I think the whole Serena fucking Kerrigan, the queen of confidence things, those were very like loud phrases and loud labels that I was putting on myself. And I think that it's not people's fault. Like, we're in a patriarchal society, like loud women, like we've been taught to make ourselves quieter and smaller and shrink. And so when a loud woman comes onto the scene and is saying that her middle name's fucking and is like, I'm the queen of confidence, people are not programmed to like understand that. And in fact, people are programmed to like feel very threatened by it and not like it. And then in turn, instead of seeing that like, I'm here because I want to lift you up, they're like, well, she was actually confident she'd be doing this and that, and like, look how she's living her life. And I guess to my core, it's like, I really wanted to build a brand like you, where I want to help people. I want people to see that they really are like the writer, producer, director, and star of their life. That like, if you say like, I'm going to accomplish this, and you do the work, I think you can do anything that you want to accomplish. It just might not happen in the time frame that you want. Mm-hmm. But someone said to me that I thought was really interesting. They said, if you can envision it, it means it's already happened. And I was like, huh. Because she said to me, she goes, think about everything that you don't think about you doing or fantasize about you doing. Like, I don't ever think about going into space, becoming an astronaut, or like, I don't think about those things. Like, that really doesn't interest me at all. So it's probably not going to happen. But there are things and goals of mine that I can fully visualize, see like it's a movie of my life. And what she said was, it's like essentially like within your reach, and it's there for you to go take it. And I love that. As woo-woo as it may be, I found that to be really reassuring. Like, oh, the reason why you're thinking about this so much is because like you're able to make it happen.
So
Long-winded.
Would you say that it's that you have kind of continued to evolve and like change as a person, and you maybe feel like people are holding on to this like their first time you ever came across their page kind of thing, but you feel like you've grown?
A lot. I feel like I'm not a different person, but I feel
like you're different from the first time I met you.
Right?
Yeah. But I would hope you maybe thought the same of me.
Yeah.
Like, there's the thing. People are supposed to change.
Yeah,
I feel like we've ever seen things in movies where people are like, you've changed, and it's like a bad thing. I'm like, I hope that if you haven't seen or talked to me in 5 years, that I'm different. I hope, because that would mean I've continued to learn things in my life, push my boundaries, grow as a person, improve where I can improve, strengthen what was already strong. Like, you know?
Fully. I also think there's a misconception that what you're posting online is the full picture of who you are and what you care about. I don't post 98% of the things that I'm doing during the day because it's honestly not even that interesting. Like, it's not that glam. Or I want to just keep it private. But it's like, we feel this way about all the people that we have parasocial relationships with, whether it's Taylor Swift. We feel like we know them. And honestly, like, we don't. So I feel like we hold people up to a certain expectation. And then when they don't meet us there, they're very disappointed.
Right.
It's an interesting thing. The internet is I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
And the relationships and what we choose to share. It's my Roman Empire.
You're definitely not alone with all these feelings, just so you know. Okay, like, I totally ebb and flow with, I'll talk about it on the show a lot of like feeling in my power, where like I'll post anything, I'll post 6 videos a day, like I'm rock and rolling, like you can say a hate comment, I don't give a fuck. And then I have other weeks where I'm literally terrified to put a story up.
Paralyzed, yeah.
And how can I just always be version 1?
Because we're human.
Exactly.
But it is comforting that we're not alone in that feeling.
I think what's crazy too for people to hear though, and I get this said to myself a lot, so I know how it sounds, but you are so successful and you have so many amazing things. I think it further helps the enlightened message of true happiness, true joy. All of those things come from how you approach the process, how you approach your everyday, how you think about your life, how you talk to your loved ones, the people you surround yourself with or without being on some amazing list, with or without founding your own company. Because there are founders, there are Olympians, there are millionaires who are unhappy, and there are people who have none of that and are incredibly happy, and there's vice versa.
Right.
But, you know, I frequently will ask myself, how many things do I have to achieve before I can really hit the brakes and actually live the cadence and routine that like I tell myself I want to have that I don't have right now. But then when I try to say no to things and create it, it's literally feels impossible to do. But an outsider looking in could say, yeah, just clear your whole month. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
We're very similar in that sense because we're ambitious.
But I feel like I'm on the wavelength of kind of what you were sharing today, and I think it's powerful to look back and have recognized how you've grown. And also I went through my own identity thing with, I was this volleyball player and I was really focused on eating disorders and mental health. And now it's like, I don't want to talk about eating disorders all the time. Like that's just not easy. And I've heard people say, she lost the plot. She used to talk about meaningful things like intuitive eating and she hasn't posted an intuitive eating video. It's like, I'm a person. Now I'm into these things. And I did that work for a few years and it's hard for me. I don't want to do it anymore.
You're
like
evolving
to that level, at least, you know, but you just got to be yourself.
What's also like, it's like Taylor and her albums. Like she has a different album. This is your different album.
I know.
Of your life.
The whole world being like, this album's oversaturated and it's too blah, 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 blah. The more I listen to it, the more I'm like, this is the most genius album I've ever heard.
And you have to think about, like, whenever there's those moments of like the hate comments and stuff like that, I'm like, think about Taylor, think about Beyonce, think about anyone.
No,
there's just in the public
such
eye.
A different level.
It's a different level.
I'm like, yeah.
So it just comes with the territory.
That question though, you wrote, Missy, in your own game, Let's Fucking Go, which I am so obsessed with, and you have a bunch of different card games, don't you?
Fuck. I'll leave a couple with you. I don't know if you played fuck yet. Date, play.
Is fuck like with your partner?
Yeah. Ooh la la.
Max, get ready. Wait, so you have fuck, you have Let's Fucking Go, you have
Let's Fucking Date and Let's Fucking Play. I started them during the pandemic. And they're really icebreaker games, and they're 4 bases: first base, second base, third base, home run. And I've been doing it for 4 years. It's a really great business, and people have like gotten proposed to from this game, broken a bed from this game, and just had a lot of fun. And we were at that dinner, and it was like one of those influencer things, which was super fun, but it's like you also don't really know people, and we just started playing, and I feel like the night completely took a turn. Like we had
the
so
best
much fun.
Side of the table, like
Yeah,
not that it's a
clearly.
competition, but I was like, wow, we're having really good conversation.
Right.
Sometimes those can be really painful.
No, this is the thing I have in my back pocket if I'm ever like don't know people. It's a really good networking tool.
I love it so much. So I pulled a few questions. I know you maybe pulled a few too, and I feel like this is perfect. We'll keep going with our deep chats.
Great.
And kind of finish with some of this card game.
Great, I have the ones for you. Okay.
Do you believe that everything happens for a reason?
You know, I do. And maybe it doesn't, but I think that that's really the most helpful thing for me to move forward. Some might call it toxic positivity, but like it puts things into a positive mindset. Like whenever something is bad that happens or doesn't work out the way it want to, or an opportunity doesn't open up, like I've been able to look back on my life and be like, oh, that's why that didn't happen, you know, or that's how I choose to look at it. And I find it to be very comforting because there's so much unknown, and the unknown is so scary. So if we can somehow like tell ourselves like, oh, this didn't happen, or this happened so I could do this, so I could flourish, so I could get this opportunity, then I'm willing to kind of live by that.
I love it.
What about you?
I think you get something out of everything. So I definitely know that what I believe, and actually I hope I say this right, I read this book called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and I did a spin-off series with my bestie. So much to say. Listen to it. But it said, how do you know this is the moment you're supposed to be having? Because this is the situation like your life is putting you in. And so I feel like even when I think about the worst things that I've experienced or been through, like I've learned so much, and it's made me the Victoria that I am now, who like I just wouldn't trade it. So I look at it similarly, like, I don't think someone made it happen.
No, I agree.
But I think I can find something out of every situation.
I love the quote too. If you weren't ready, you wouldn't have the opportunity, which I love.
Ooh, I like that one.
Whenever you're afraid or you have that imposter syndrome, it's like this is being presented to you because you can handle it. I find that such a great motivator.
I'm going to send that to a friend of mine who's struggling with that.
If you had to give a 20-minute lecture on anything, what would it be about?
I mean, the eras of Miss Taylor Allison Swift.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. And I honestly would. I would attend.
I get so passionate about that I can't even speak. I'm like, okay, but wait, you gotta know.
You know, I think I'm gonna go see her in London with my mom.
Oh my god, that's so exciting. You're gonna see a TTPD probably like number.
You think
then.
that she's gonna do it?
Yeah, she posted like a video of some BTS right now, and there's a whole like she's using the white mic. You can see the TTPD logo. That's what's rumored.
Queen.
Put it on live, and I'll be there.
100%, I will.
What about you?
I would say like leaning into your feminine energy when it comes to dating.
That's so much more meaningful.
It's not. It's literally not at all. I don't really have. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, I think like I recently just like I think that in dating what I learned was like I was so when it comes to work and stuff, we're going after it, we're constantly like making a seat for ourselves at the table, we're making money, like we're just in our masculine energy. And it's not like man versus female, like it's different than that, if that makes sense. But it's more just like you are go-getter, a hunter, you're going after it. And I think that like what I realized is then I would go on a date and I would be in that same energy, and then I would be mad when the guy like wouldn't make a reservation or like would be intimidated. And not that it was my fault by any means, but it's more like I would show up in this masculine energy to dates because I wanted to control the outcome of the situation. Mm-hmm. And then when I relinquished control, lean back, put my feet up. Oh, you want to go to dinner? You choose. And not like that you can't pick where you want to go to dinner. That's not what I'm saying. But it's more like I wanted to be taken care of emotionally.
I follow what you're saying. I think your sentence of you're trying to control it. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, so you should do E, F, G, and then we should get married and it should work out perfectly. And it's like, you know, letting go of the leash and the rope a little bit and like being a bit more go with the flow.
And also at the end of the day, like I wanted someone who was pursuing me. And maybe that's not everyone. Like for me, that was like I wanted to feel pursued. And
I'm the same way.
Okay, good. So but I pursue everything in my life. So I really had to actually train myself. I'm not trying to give you the lecture right now, by the way.
Give it to us.
But I had to train myself to be like, okay, work Serena's over, SFK's done, like relax. And I think part of the reason that some of us want to control is because of the scarcity mentality of like, there are no good men out there left. And so like once we meet a guy, we're like, well, I can't really do Thursday, but I'll make it work. And like, we can go to this dinner that's close because you're so afraid that like, they're going to not be around anymore and want to date you.
Which goes back to what I believe wholeheartedly is if he wanted to, he would. And if it doesn't work out that Thursday, like, and he really isn't you, he will make it work next week.
Without a doubt. Like without a doubt. And I actually did a Q&A the other day and I go, can we do a poll like who believes this and who doesn't? And like I would say like an astounding 25% of people were like, I don't believe in that phrase. And I was like, okay, well I'd love to meet these men that wanted to but they don't. Because it's like, well, okay, if they want to but they don't, that means that they're not confident enough to like go after what they want. And like, is that a quality that you want in a man? For me, no.
Right.
I want a hunter. I want to be hunted.
Stalk me like the prey, literally.
Sleeping with a top sheet. Fuck yes or fuck no. This is important.
Fuck yes. I go under like everything in the bed. I need everything on top of me.
Wow. I'm shocked.
You go over the top sheet?
There is no top sheet.
Just duvet on skin on your sheet.
Duvet, fitted sheet, like the fitted one.
Yeah.
But there's no top sheet over the fitted.
Wait, then I think I'm what you're talking about. Who has two sheets?
Yeah, so there's the fitted sheet that like goes over the thing in the bed, and then there's that other sheet.
Yeah.
And then there's the duvet.
Yeah. I do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you get
there's just me and the duvet. That's the contact we're having.
Got it. So like if I get into my bed, like this morning actually Max was like, you're not under the cover. I was like, yes I am. And I was laying on top of the sheet by accident because sometimes we tuck it so far up I forget.
You guys spending a lot of time tucking it. It's a lot of complications.
But no, I like it.
I'm very
I do.
interested to see what your
The
your
duvet
list.
is for weight, not for skin contact.
Interesting. I just can't like imagine making my bed every day and having to do the sheet and then the duvet. It's got to be
You
a
just
one
really-
hand move. Like flick it. It's like done.
That would simplify your life.
Okay, what is the last thing you were influenced to buy, and was it worth it?
I think something I can think of is I got a hairbrush recently because Queen Lauren Bostic linked it and was like, this is my hairbrush. It's the best brush. And I got it. I like it a lot.
But
It's like, I don't know what I was expecting, but it's like the brush was like $100 something and my wet brushes are like $20. So I'm like, I don't know. I like hope the bristles are doing some magical thing,
Right,
but I'm
right.
still
So
impartial.
what
I don't know. I
the
wouldn't-
sorcery is this?
I don't know. Maybe I'm using it wrong.
I would love a follow up. Is it just like a normal brush with bristles?
It's probably like a well-known one. Like it's a white brush with like a red base and like these white bristles. I definitely think when you look at it, you're like, okay, that's like a nice brush. But I'm a pretty like tomboy girl when it comes to like my aesthetic stuff like that, where I don't know. Like I'm just like, ugh, I'll use my little travel wet brush that barely fits in the palm of my hand and has dust all throughout
It's
it.
fine. The wet brushes are amazing.
This has been so much fun. Thank you
incredible.
so much for coming on Real Pod.
Always.
I really love the fact that we got to talk 5 years ago. You're one of my first interviews ever. I'm so glad that we're still friends. I'm so grateful you came back on the show.
I'm so proud of you and everything that you've accomplished.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you too. And you've been so helpful with me. Like if I have random questions or I hit you up, like you respond right away.
Always.
I feel like you give me a slap across the face that I give to people a lot. But even the people who give them need them too.
100%. 100%. And I'm always here for you. Always.
So thank you so much, Serena. This has been amazing. Love you.